Alright guys, this is a video for all you scamp owners. I have a scamp 16, and what I've been trying to do is get as much information about how to install an overhead AC unit. This is a 1990, so there's no reinforcement in the ceiling. As you can see, it's just, you can almost see right through the fiberglass. But I did call Scamp. They said what they do is they reinforce a 30-inch by 30-inch area with fiberglass, and they build it up about 1/4 of an inch, the guy said. So I did my research and called a company called West System, who sells epoxy, resin, and fiberglass, and they led me in the right direction as to what to use to get it. So I got some fiberglass biaxial matting, and I cut it to 30-inch by 30-inch squares. And yeah, as you'll see, I'll be trying to work overhead, and we're going to try to apply that fiberglass resin and the fiberglass itself up there, and hopefully everything works out. So I'll be documenting that in this video. So here it is on the outside, and as you can see on the inside, I have removed the bunk beds and put in some built-in shelving. I can get into that in another video. But I have removed all the rat fur on the ceiling, and kind of peeled it back all the way to where I had a skylight. And in between that skylight and the bathroom is where that air conditioner is going to be located. So right in between there's going to be a 30-inch by 30-inch reinforcement of just fiberglass. And so I've taped everything back. Now I'm going to tape everything off with some tarping or just some plastic sheeting, and then I can apply some epoxy and go ahead and get some fiberglass mat up. So I taped some plastic all around the perimeter of the Scamp. As you can see, the only thing that's not taped off is the ceiling, naturally. And I've sanded it down a tiny bit. Also used some acetone to clean it up. And out here, I have my little mat that's going to be what we call wetted out. So we're going to put our mixture of epoxy and hardener together, pour it on here, wipe it all across. Once it's all wetted out, we're going to take it inside and kind of hold it up to the ceiling. It's going to be really tough. I'm actually going to apply a little bit of that mixture to the ceiling first, and kind of let that dry to tacky consistency before I put this up. Over here we have the West System 105 resin and the 205 hardener, and it's just one pump each into a little plastic container. Mix it up real well, and there you go. Let that dry and you're good to go. So yeah, we'll try it out and see you in a minute. Alright guys, we got just 2 layers of fiberglass up as of right now, and we'll continue to put more layers up once they dry to a tackiness. And it was really tough to do. I highly suggest you have a second person. I couldn't get one sheet up without a second person at least help me hold it up for a second. And once you get it up, it's pretty easy to work on. And you just kind of work out the extra resin. And yeah, this is what it looks like. So hopefully you can see that. And we'll do about 18 of those all together. That's just 2. So we'll check back in when it's all done. Alright guys, let's take a look at the progress here. So I don't know if you can see the patch there, that 30-inch by 30-inch patch. That's actually 12 pieces of the fiberglass mat, and that's nice and dry. And today we're going to put on another 6. So just to reiterate, this is sanded. Since it's been dried, I've sanded it with 80 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to take 2 pumps of the resin and the hardener each, mix that up, and I am going to apply that to the top, and then I'm going to wet out a 30" by 30" sheet on my little setup over here. And once it's wet and both items are tacky, then we'll go ahead and put that sheet up. Let that dry a little bit, and we'll do that for the last 6 sheets. And that should be that. Just want to reiterate, you're going to need somebody to help you hang it up. It's super tough to do without someone helping you. But as long as you wait until that ceiling part is tacky and your sheet is tacky, you shouldn't really have that big of an issue. Just spread it out and work it, and it will stay up. And then once you get that first one up, the rest kind of just fly right on. Okay. All right, so pardon my funny suit, but I just wanted to update you on what's going on. So as you can see, this is my setup, and there actually is a sheet of fiberglass on here. It's what we call wetted out. I took my 9 pumps of epoxy and 9 pumps of the resin, mixed it up for 60 seconds, and poured it on here, and used my little Bondo squeegee to work it back and forth until I covered the entire sheet, and it should all be translucent. Now I'm going to give it about 10 minutes to kind of set, and then I'm going to apply it to the ceiling. Once it's applied to the ceiling, I'm going to use the squeegee again to work out any air bubbles up there, and once it's done, I'm going to come back out here to my little board here, which is just covered in plastic, and I'm going to take my squeegee and I'm going to scrape off all the extra resin. If there's a little bit left on there, that's fine, and then I'm going to put another sheet down, wet it out again, and continue that process until I'm out of sheets. So it's that simple. I just wanted you guys to see what I'm using so you have an idea. And when I do scrape that stuff off the side, when I scrape it this way, I do have a trash bag ready, and I just kind of scrape it all into the trash bag. You can see a bunch of stuff already in there from previous day's use. Alright guys, we're back in the Scamp and we're ready to install the AC. So a few things to note is I went on the roof and I marked out a 14 1/4 inch by 14 1/4 inch square in the center of the roof. And as I was up there, I really gave a nice test on that part that we fiberglassed. I was like kind of really bouncing on it. It's strong as hell. If you go to a portion that doesn't have the fiberglass, it bounces a little bit. You know, it wouldn't be able to support the AC. The only issue that I think there's going to be is that once I cut this hole, that fiberglass really isn't thick enough to sandwich in the it's like a 2-piece thing. So the AC goes on the top, and then there's a piece that kind of goes on the bottom, and there's screws that go from that bottom piece on the inside to the top of the AC, and it sandwiches the AC together. And that's really all that's going on that keeps that AC in place. Since the fiberglass is so thin, when I called up Scamp, they said they just reinforce it 1/4 inch and it's good to go. I don't think that's going to be enough to allow that inside piece to suck that top piece down. So what I'm doing is I cut a piece of wood, a 30 inch by 30 inch piece, and what I'm going to do is after I cut this hole, I'm going to have somebody hold that piece of wood up in place right on the perimeter of this 30 inch by 30 inch square. I'm going to go on the roof, mark it. I'm going to cut that hole, that square hole in the piece of wood, and I'm just going to place that up there and sandwich it. And that's just going to allow for that, what would you call it, the little thing in between to compress. You know what I'm talking about. So either way, I think it's going to need a little more, and that's what I'm about to do. So we'll cut the hole and we'll see if it works. Alright guys, so I cut the hole, and you can see the hole in the fiberglass. And this is just a piece of 1/2-inch plywood that I also cut a hole in. And that little channel right there is so when I run wiring from the box, I can get the wire to go in flush. No one will see that there's you know, any extra little wire or anything like that. You won't see any bump in the rat fur. So this is just, I'm just holding it up, and then this part is going to get sandwiched by this. So the next part is to install or put the AC on the roof, and then I will come back inside and put this interior part on, and it just squishes that AC down. There's like a little, what do you call it, one of these right here, one of these little guys. It'll squeeze it down, and that's what's going to create the seal. All right, guys, the AC was put up, and then this is the other inside part. And what you do is you add these 4 bolts. It just sandwiches that gasket. That's the word I was looking for before, the gasket. It sandwiches that down. It sucks it right down. So this 1/2-inch panel really seemed to do the trick. Gave me that extra space needed to really suck it down. It's tight, and there's no movement up there. This thing's gonna work like a son of a gun, no doubt. So my next step is to run wiring. So I'm going to run wiring from my panel, which is actually down here. You can see it. I'm gonna run wiring from there over and out, up, and it's actually going to go around the back, up here, and then in. And then I'm going to wire it all up. So that's my next step. I'm going to wire it up, and yeah, we'll give her a test run in a few minutes. Actually, prior to wiring it up though, I am going to put some of this rat fur back up. I brought some spray glue. I'm just going to spray glue it. So when you see it again, it'll probably all be back up, okay? Let's do it. So we wired it up, and we also put the shroud up, which just covers that metal piece that you saw, that kind of sandwiches that gasket. So yeah, so you can see that I have run the wire through this rat fur. Okay, so I haven't put it all the way back up yet, but I've done a good amount. And yeah, there it is. There's the shroud. There's enough room where I'm like 5'6". I'm not that tall, but there's actually still plenty of room over here for my head, you know. And yeah, I have the generator running, and it works great. So let's just try it out. So you might not be able to hear me because it's going to be kind of loud. Yep, so on the low setting, it blows pretty good, and I was already feeling some of the air conditioner. I was feeling the coldness of it. And yeah, I guess if you have any questions, I'm going to try and, you know, put my email at the end, so you can email me if you have any questions. I hope that this video helped you. Yeah, good luck, guys.